Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something today. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we didn't ask for. Lessons that don't show up in textbooks or classrooms, but lessons that come from experience, pain, failure, and reflection. And if we're wise enough to pay attention, these lessons can become the turning points of our lives. Life doesn't owe you anything. That's a truth that hits hard, but it's one of the most liberating lessons you'll ever learn. Too many people move through life thinking that because they showed up, because they've been through pain, because they've tried their best, the world owes them a reward. But the marketplace, the world, life itself, it doesn't work that way. Life doesn't hand out prizes for potential. It doesn't give out medals for almost. You don't get paid because you're a good person. You don't succeed just because you wanted it badly. You succeed because you earned it. Now, that may sound unfair, but here's the good news. It means everything is in your hands. If life owed us something, we'd be trapped waiting around for it to finally deliver. But since life owes us nothing, it gives us full responsibility to build, to create, to go after what we want. It means no one can stop you but yourself. Think about a farmer. The soil doesn't owe him a harvest just because he owns the land or because he stares at it every morning. If he doesn't plant seeds, water them, nurture them, the land gives him nothing. But if he does the work, if he follows the process, the soil gives back in abundance. That's life. It doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to effort. When you accept that life owes you nothing, you stop waiting for the phone call, the lucky break, the miracle chance. You roll up your sleeves and start making things happen. You stop complaining that someone else has it better, and you start asking, what can I do with what I've got? You stop comparing your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20, and instead, you start writing your own story. The truth is, the sooner you let go of entitlement, the freer you become. Because if life doesn't owe you anything, then everything you achieve is a bonus. Every victory is earned. Every blessing is appreciated. Every opportunity is multiplied because you went after it instead of waiting for it to show up at your door. So, don't wish life were easier. Don't expect it to hand you something just because you desire it. Instead, become stronger, develop more skills, bring more value to the table, because the marketplace, life, the world, they don't respond to need. They respond to value. Failure is the tuition you pay for success. Nobody likes to fail. Nobody wakes up in the morning hoping their plans fall apart or their efforts collapse. But the truth is, failure is not a punishment, it's a payment. It's the fee life charges for wisdom, growth, and preparation. You don't get to the top of the mountain without stumbling on the way up. You don't build mastery without mistakes. Every misstep, every setback, every rejection, it's a down payment on your future success. Think about school. You pay tuition to learn, and sometimes the cost feels high. But the knowledge you gain, the skills you develop, the doors that education opens, they make the tuition worth it. Life works the same way. Failure is tuition. You can't avoid it, but you can decide whether you get your money's worth. Some people pay the price of failure and walk away with nothing because they refuse to learn. Others take every painful experience and squeeze out the lesson, the insight, the wisdom, and they become unstoppable. Thomas Edison said he found 1,000 ways that didn't work before the light bulb finally came to life. Each failure was tuition. Imagine if he had quit after the first 100 or even the first 500. We wouldn't be talking about him today. His persistence wasn't blind optimism. It was the recognition that every failure was a necessary payment toward the final breakthrough. Failure is also a filter. It separates those who are interested from those who are committed. Anyone can get excited about a new goal, but only the ones willing to pay the tuition of setbacks, disappointments, and long nights keep moving forward. Failure asks, how badly do you want it? And if your answer is strong enough, you keep going until the lessons you've paid for turn into results. The real tragedy isn't failure. It's quitting before you've collected the rewards of the lessons failure was trying to teach you. Failure is never final unless you decide to stop. Every great leader, every successful entrepreneur, every world-class athlete, they've all failed more times than the average person has even tried. But the difference is, they understood the deal. Success costs something, and failure is the currency. So when you fail, and don't see it as the end, see it as tuition. Ask yourself, what did this cost me and what did it buy me? If you can answer that, you're not losing, you're learning. And every lesson learned puts you one step closer to the life you're building. Not everyone will applaud your growth. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, because deep down, we want support, we want encouragement, and we want the people around us to cheer when we rise. But the reality is, the moment you begin to change, to improve, to break old patterns and chase new goals, you will make some people uncomfortable. Why? Because your growth shines a light on their stagnation. Your progress reminds them of their excuses. Your courage exposes their fear, and instead of celebrating you, some will criticize, mock, or distance themselves. It's not always out of hatred. It's often out of insecurity. People get used to the version of you that they can predict and control. When you were average, when you were struggling, when you were just one of them, they felt comfortable. But when you rise, you challenge the story they've been telling themselves about what's possible. And not everyone is ready to face that. Some will quietly resent you. Some will discourage you. And some will even try to pull you back down. Think about the crab in the bucket. One crab tries to climb out, but the others pull it back in, not because they want freedom, but because they can't stand to see one escape. That's human nature too. Growth means leaving certain crowds behind. It means some friendships will fade. It means some family members may not understand. It means you might have to walk alone for a while. And that's the price of transformation. But here's the good news. You don't need universal applause to succeed. You don't need the world's approval to keep growing. You need conviction, you need discipline, and you need the courage to clap for yourself when no one else does. The people who truly matter, the ones aligned with your destiny, will celebrate your growth because they're growing too. They won't feel threatened by your progress, they'll feel inspired by it. So don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't dim your light to protect their eyes. Don't pause your growth just to keep old relationships intact. The right people will rise with you, and the wrong people will fall away. And that's how life clears the path for your next level. Remember this, applause is nice, but it's not necessary. What's necessary is purpose, progress, and persistence. Grow anyway, succeed anyway, shine anyway, because your future doesn't depend on who claps, it depends on how far you're willing to climb. Time is the real currency of life. Most people spend their entire lives chasing money, chasing possessions, chasing recognition. But here's the truth: money can be earned, lost, and earned again. Possessions can be bought, sold, or replaced. But time, once it's gone forever. You can't borrow it, you can't store it, you can't recycle it. Every tick of the clock is life being spent, whether wisely or wastefully. That's why time is infinitely more valuable than money. We've all heard someone say, "I don't have time." But that's not really true. We all have the same 24 hours, the same 7 days a week, the same 365 days a year. The difference between those who build extraordinary lives and those who stay stuck isn't time itself, it's how they use it. One person spends their time complaining, procrastinating, and entertaining themselves. Another spends their time learning, building, and investing in the future. Same hours, different outcome. The danger is that time often disguises itself as abundant. When you're young, you feel like you've got forever. You say, "I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start next year. I'll get serious later." But later comes faster than you think. Before you know it, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and dreams that once burned brightly start fading away. Not because you lacked talent, but because you wasted time. Think of it this way: time is like a bank account. Every morning, life deposits 400 seconds into your account. You can spend them however you wish, but at the end of the day, the account resets. And what you didn't use wisely is gone, never to be recovered. The richest person in the world and the poorest person in the world both get the same daily deposit. The question is, how are you spending yours? Here's the secret. Those who respect time multiply it. When you invest an hour in exercise, you gain years of health. When you invest a few years in learning, you gain a lifetime of opportunities. When you invest time in relationships, you gain loyalty, love, and support. On the other hand, those who waste time pay the price in regret, missed chances, and dreams that never materialize. That's why you must treat time as treasure. Guard it. Don't hand it out carelessly to people or activities that drain you. Don't sell your hours cheaply for comfort when they could be invested for growth. Don't confuse being busy with being productive. Busy people fill their time, but wise people invest it. The honest truth, life isn't measured in years. It's measured in how you used your hours. And when the final day comes, the question won't be, how much money did you make? But what did you do with the time you were given? So live urgently, not recklessly. Use your time in ways that matter. Because money lost can be regained, but time wasted is gone forever. And once you truly understand that, every day becomes too precious to waste. Happiness is an inside job. Too many people spend their entire lives chasing it outside themselves, believing it lies in the next promotion, the next relationship, the next car, or the next milestone. They say, "I'll be happy when I get there, when I earn this, when I finally arrive." But here's the honest truth: you never really arrive. Because the moment you reach one goal, the mind creates another. If your happiness is always tied to the next thing, you'll spend your whole life running, but never resting. Happiness isn't something you find. It's something you cultivate. It's not given by the world. It's chosen from within. You can have all the money, all the recognition, all the comforts, and still feel empty. And you can meet people with almost nothing, yet their spirit is overflowing with joy. Why? Because happiness isn't about possessions. It's about perspective. Think about gratitude. Gratitude is the seed of happiness. When you learn to be thankful for what you already have, life feels richer instantly. A grateful person with little is happier than a bitter person with much. Because happiness isn't in the size of your house. It's in the peace of your heart. Happiness also comes from progress. Not perfection, not comparison, progress. Every time you learn something new, every time you grow, every time you move closer to becoming the person you were meant to be, you feel that deep sense of fulfillment. That's happiness. It's not about having everything. It's about becoming someone. And here's another truth: happiness requires integrity. You can't betray your values, cut corners, or live dishonestly and expect to feel joy. The mind won't let you. You'll always feel unsettled. Real happiness comes from alignment, when what you believe, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. That's when you sleep at night with peace. Now, that doesn't mean life will always be easy. Challenges will come. Pain will visit. Loss is part of the human experience. But even in difficulty, happiness can be chosen. Not the surface level excitement of things going your way, but the deeper contentment of knowing you're growing, you're resilient, and you're still becoming stronger in the process. If you wait for happiness to be delivered by circumstances, you'll wait forever. But if you decide today to build it from the inside, through gratitude, growth, integrity, and perspective, you'll discover that happiness was never missing. It was within you all along. So stop chasing it, start choosing it. Because happiness is not a destination, it's the way you travel. So, my friends, those are some of the life lessons no one really talks about, but everyone eventually faces. Life owes you nothing, so go earn it. Failure is tuition, so pay and learn. Not everyone will clap, so clap for yourself. Time is wealth, so spend it wisely. And happiness is an inside job, so work on yourself. If you remember these truths and apply them, you won't just live a life of success, you'll live a life of significance.